Alright, this is a Goodyear air compressor. This is a TAW 2080 VD. Now these are all of the tools and things that attachments that you can use this air compressor for. Some of the smaller ones, these all are Goodyear air compressors here. And this is the one that I have right here, is the TAW 280 VD. V as in Victor, D as in day. And here's some of the tools that can be used. A blowgun, tire chuck, brad nailer, finish nailer, roofing nailer, framing nailer, ratchet, impact driver, impact wrench, spray gun, a cleaner, which would use air, I suppose, an airbrush, sandblaster. The sandblaster, yeah, you might be able to use a sandblaster with it, but it would not have very much power. Screwdriver, as in drill. Cut-off saw, air drill, die grinder, air hammer, and automotive paint sprayer. Now, the automotive paint sprayer, it's the only one that says down here, it has a symbol at the bottom. It says that it's for occasional use. Well, I would dispute that and say that it can be used for continuous use. So I'm not sure what they mean by that. Now this is the biggest air compressor, a Goodyear one that they had at Walmart. So we'll kind of see what it is. The only question I would have is whether it could be used for a sandblaster, and yes, it will work for a sandblaster, but not very powerful. We'll look at the instruction book. It's got a couple rubber tires. They look pretty nice. These are the kind that will not go flat. So I really prefer these solid rubber tires. Here's a couple of parts, and these are for the tires again. More styrofoam. Got a nice plastic bag, of course. Now this is going to be really hard to get out of here. Okay, here is the operator's manual. Okay, on the inside, this is 14 millimeter. I'm calling the inside right in here and right in here over here. And then this one is 17 millimeter. Alright, now this thing here has two outlets. These are the kind where it is already set. In other words, the final position is already set back here and it's pushed back. This collar right here is pushed back on both of these. And as soon as you put this in, then it closes like that, which is much faster. And I've got all this hose. We'll have to read exactly what we're doing here. But right now I shut it off. Also, I haven't tried to unplug it. Yeah, if you unplug it, then the display goes off. And also it alternates between these two pressures. When it's blue, it's the regulated pressure. Then when it's yellow, it's the tank PSI. So it's not quite to the tank PSI, the maximum, which is 165. So I'm just going to leave it there and unplug it. There's no reason to have it plugged in. Okay, we're going to cut this down here. Yeah, this is a Profactor. Might be a little bit beat up because I might have bought it used, I'm not sure. But in any case, we're going to use it. Got a nice handle, it's got a nice wrench to it. The wrench obviously is going to be used to change the grinding discs and so forth. Got a nice guard. This, by the way, is a 5 to 6 inch grinder. Alright, now this guard, it took me a while to figure it out because the instructions are not that great. But you have to push down this lever right here. Here's a silver colored lever. And you have to take this guard and put it like this. Now there may be another way to do it, but I haven't found that way. Alright, now you have to turn this, push it down first, and then turn it. It kind of squeaks, it's really tight. I figure it's going to be something like that, and then you have to release this lever, but make sure it's locked. Alright, these are the grinding wheels that I have. These are cutoff wheels actually. So these are Makita 5 inch. 3/64 is not very much. So that's pretty small. And then the hole in the middle is 7/8. The diameter, the overall diameter of this whole thing is 5 inches. And then the thickness of the disc is 3/64. So I'm going to try this grinding wheel on here. It's about 4 inches right now. It has been ground down a little bit, but it'll work. And if not, I may have to take the guard off. Alright, this here's my spanner wrench. They give you a handle which I think is going to be very useful. Let's see what we got in here. Okay, well, I'm going to have to do some reading on this. Well, this has had many years of pitting in the dirt and everything, so it's pretty much gone. I don't know if I'm going to be able to restore this or not. Alright, now this is my Milwaukee 9-inch grinder. This is from the 50s or 60s, I'm not sure exactly. But I have this cutoff wheel that I use for this. I want to show this because now this grinder over here is between 5 and 6 inch. So it can use either 5 or 6 inch grinder wheels. You could also use it with 4 and a half inch grinder wheels and cutoff discs. Okay, now we're going to show this, how you can change this disc for another one. It has a nut down here. Now, we'll show this as we take it off. This has a spanner nut on it. And I made this spanner wrench for it. All I did was take 2 pins, grind them, placed them where I wanted them, and grind them so that they fit. So this is the nut you have for this system. And here's the grinding disc. Now this was originally a 4.5 inch one. Here is another 4.5 inch one. It can go on here. Another thing is, in order to make this work for that Milwaukee old one from the 50s and 60s, I have to use this big washer. Well, this hole in the middle, it's too big. But I just put it in there best I can, put the disc in, put this nut on. Should start it with your fingers, not start cranking on it right away, and then use your spanner to get it to the right position. Alright, so that's that right there. Now with this new grinder, I've got some other discs for it. You have this huge 7/8 inch hole right here, and on here, on this grinding disc, this one came from Menards, but on the grinding discs and on most grinding discs, it's going to say what the arbor is. The arbor is the hole. So here is the new. Oh, I do want to show you something else. These grinding discs. Now the hole looks similar, but it's not. It's too small. This hole is 5/8 of an inch. Different than 7/8, obviously. But these will not work for this system that I have. So again, center your huge washer on there. And I could make it exact and make the hole exactly 7/8, but that's too much work and I'm not going to do it. So I'll put this in back in. This is the 7/8 one. Oh, I wanted to show you something else. This nut happens to be 5/8 of an inch. And what's 5/8 of an inch? Well, where does that come into play? Well, that is what you want for these two grinders. Both of them have a shaft on here that's 5/8 of an inch. Same with this one, the new grinder. They're both exactly the same. Now this new grinder has this and it comes with it. It has two flats, one over here and one over here. There are two corresponding flat spots on this new grinder. And you can see the two flat spots on there. If I want to use this disc with the 7/8 of an inch hole, I have to put this on. This came with my grinder. This is a 5 to 6 inch grinder, Bosch. You have to put this on. And you have to line up the flats on this end of it, on this side of it, with the flats that are on the shaft. Make sure that it doesn't spin. Make sure that they're locked like that. Now I can either use this grinding disc. This is a gator. It's 5 inch. Notice that the center, this is called a depressed center, which means that it sticks above the surface here. So if you're going to use this, don't put it this way. It'll never work. Turn it over like this. All right. This hole in the middle, according to this, is 7/8 of an inch, and it is. So you have to make sure that it registers on the top of this. Wiggle it around a little bit so it's registered. Then they give you this nut. It's 5/8 of an inch in the middle. It also has two spaces here for a spanner wrench. This came with the grinder. I marked it, a 5 and 6 inch grinder. You can put this on here. This is sort of a speed nut. Make sure that everything's centered very firmly. Now twist it. You don't want to twist it too hard, because one of two things will happen. Either you will bend this thing that flips up and down like this, or you'll get it in a bind and it won't go back down, or you'll just break it off. So you aren't trying to get it torqued to 100 psi or something like that, or 100 foot-pounds or something like that. Don't do that. Just twist it on so it's firm, and follow the instructions that came with it. I could use this spanner wrench to tighten it. I'm not going to. It's tight with my fingers. Only use your fingers, don't use pliers. And now it's ready to go. Okay. So, what about the cutoff wheel? How are you going to put that on? Well, you must put it on safely. Again, all this lettering goes this way. Alright? And then put this nut on. Now they also have another nut that can also be used, but you have to purchase it separately. And I suppose this one that I have will work, because it has two holes for the spanner wrench. This is a spanner wrench, and the reason why it's called a spanner wrench is because it spans a large distance between here and here, these two holes. So I could use this. Why don't I try that? I can use the spanner wrench that I made, or not. Well, I guess this is not going to work. Won't go on there. Well, I can use this. Put it up like this. Hit the button, red button back here. Push that down. Keep turning this until it snaps, and then tighten this. Now it also has two holes for the spanner wrench. For me personally, I think that's too tight, but it's up to you. Because this thing, I think, is made more for spinning it on and off with this little handle, and only with a handle. So I've got it tight enough. Push this down. There you go. Now it's ready to go. And this grinding disc here, I'll take it off to show you what I'm talking about. Okay, I did some research, and I could not find that there was an advantage to using a cutoff disc that said type 1 versus one that said type 1A. Type 1 and type 1A are virtually the same. I could not see that there was a big difference. The type 1A are those that are sold by Bosch, from what I found. Maybe there are others out there, I don't know. Alright, so here is the grinding disc that I got. It's got to have a 7/8 inch hole, which it does. You got to have this on there first. Make sure that you spin it a little bit to make sure it's locked on there. And then this, make sure that this is locked on there. Then use this nut. and then put it up like this,